Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my weekly review of The Strain on FX. This week we've seen Season 3, Episode 10, which is called The Fall and was the Season 3 finale. Sorry for the lateness of this review, but, reviewing both this and The Walking Dead in the same night is a little bit tough. Because Walking Dead ran a few minutes over, so I had to catch the replay of this at 11. So I apologize for the lateness of this review, but I absolutely love this episode. It's a really good one. Last week's episode I liked quite a bit too, but this one it definitely had some, season finale worthy stuff in it, and it just set up a major turning point for, the final season 4 next year. It just did a lot to set that up, but also have a pretty good payoff or two in it as well. Of course, we have Palmer. He's still making plans with Satrakian. He tells him of, how he reeled I-coursed with the silver bullets and such. Satrakian says he's playing a dangerous game. Satrakian did seem a little bit surprised that Palmer actually went as far as he did, to sort of openly, betray the master as he did. Hence why he says he's playing a dangerous game. And we see I-course, he's injured. His toupee or wig has fallen off, and we see that this couple of scavengers, I'm guessing, or just people trying to survive. They come across I-course. He's just sort of laying on the sidewalk, just completely injured, almost critically, and they see that's one of them, trying to, disguise themselves as a human. They kind of get a kick out of it, and they're about to decapitate him, but that's, of course, when some of the turned soldiers or Navy SEALs show up and, shoot the couple, and then they take I-course's body to, likely try and heal him. Then we had Zach, he's still playing fetch with his little pet Children of the Night Strigoi. Or he's not playing fetch, he actually had it run up this building to get to the flag, see how fast it could go. It's probably up there in less than 10 seconds. And then this guy shows up, he's saying, he's Zach's little kid, so he asks, what are you doing out here, come with us, me and my son are getting out of the city. And of course, when the Children of the Night sees on the rooftop, she comes back down, and Zach tries to stop her from going after the guy, and it seems like she does, but the guy pulls a gun on her anyway, and he's about to shoot, and that's when Zach commands the Children of the Night to go, and it manages to dodge the gunfire, and it kills the guy. Zach sort of flip-flopped there a little bit. It does seem like he actually cares about this pet of his a little bit, but Zach pulls some even more major shit at the end of the episode, but we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Of course, we have our group meeting up, to set plans in motion, with the box and the master. F shows up, and Fett's still having his little grudge against F. I still love Fett as a character, but he's being really petty. He was really petty in this episode. They already duked it out a little bit last week, and F's willing to let it slide. But Fett just has to bring it up, or insult F any chance he gets. So Fett came across a little bit petty and small in this episode, at least at the beginning, I felt like. Let's see, of course, they plan to sink the master, of course, drop him in the ocean in the box. And as Palmer, he was going to go back up to his penthouse to lure whoever the master's new vessel or host is, up to that area so they could ambush him. Palmer is ambushed in the lot, and all his guys are killed. We see that Palmer has taken over one of the soldier boys. But then this is when he actually turns Palmer into his host. He sort of he does that vomiting thing that we've seen the master do in the flashbacks. Or, at least when, Sardu or the giant or whatever that initial body we seen was, made the new host. He does that to Palmer, and Palmer is now the vessel of the master, the host of the master. So Palmer is technically dead. He's just this vehicle for the master now, master's new body. And Palmer is one of my guesses as to the body the Master would take. I do think in the books, I remember hearing it was Zach. And how do I feel about it being Palmer in the show? I see it makes sense. I think Jonathan Hyde definitely looks like he could be a creepy, older vampire type of character, so it does work on that end. I didn't want it to be Icorst either, because I like Icorst to remain as his own character, so Abraham can kill him personally at some point, hopefully. And I was expecting more of a swerve with a tragic swerve. I was expecting like it somehow ended up being like F or Fed or something like that. Even though I'd hate to see that happen to either of them, I just thought there was more of a swerve, and I feel like Palmer being taken over is a little bit anticlimactic, just a little bit. But like I said, it does still kind of work, and it is sort of a tragically poetic ending for Palmer. He wanted immortality and just to live as long as he could, and now he does, except he's not really there to control it. So still it does make sense. I'm fine with it overall. Like I said, it'll work with Jonathan Hyde's acting, I think, or his look. Just sort of works with the whole Master persona, I think. Of course, Kelly, she tells Zach he did the right thing with the father. Fett, of course, like I say, he's still on edge with that F. He's even picking at Dutch a little bit. And he sort of just directly mentions that, so he slept with them. And I understand, Fett's jealousy and, anger towards it, but he's bringing it up every time he gets a chance. Come on, man. There's bigger things at play here. Let's see, and then we also had Palmer, or I can't call him Palmer anymore. We also have the Master. He heals Icorst. Icorst just wanted to be released at that point, but the Master drops some of the white in each of Icorst's wounds, and this brings him back to health. He needs his special Nazi butler, for the way ahead, I guess. But yeah, I didn't think Icorst was just going to die there. Like I said, I think he needs to be there, at least for the majority of the series. Hopefully, with Satrakian putting an end to him at some point, I think that would be most fitting. And Icorst is just such a great villain. Of course, the Master is technically the main antagonist, but Icorst is kind of the villain of the series, I think, to me. Richard Samuel just does such a good job, and it's good to know that he's going to be in the final season. Let's see. We do have Fett and Dutch. They do connect a little bit more again in the elevator. Fett sort of semi-apologizes for the way he's been acting. He says he just wishes that they could have left things on better terms. Dutch says she does too. Dutch says they probably have been clawing each other's eyes out by now. So they kind of get a laugh out of that. But again, I think they just wrote Fett to be a little bit too petty in this episode, but this scene is still kind of nice. Of course, the Master, when F and Satrakian go up there, to meet up with Palmer. Of course, Palmer's there. They see Palmer, but they don't know what happened to him. But he's just automatically acting odd because of the Master, because of him being the Master now. And just the way, how stoic he is, and just how, stern his expression is, yes, the nuke is nearby. I don't know. That's my Doll Palmer impression. Even though Palmer himself is pretty charismatic, the Master kind of did a bad job of trying to trick F and Satrakian here. He just speaks so flatly, no expression, nothing. Although he could say the Master wasn't really trying there, he probably could have faked it a little bit better if he wanted to. But the Master, he does attack F and Abraham, and let's see. Oh, I missed something here. And he does this after he sort of brings up, Kelly and Zach to F, and it's just automatically off, and so they start fighting. F and Satrakian aren't able to, outmaneuver him or anything. He just throws them all around. Meanwhile, Quinlan's, getting into the building, and he gets a pretty good kill with one of the, turned army guys. Of course, the armor guy takes cover, and he's trying to take little shots at him, but Quinlan just uses his speed and just comes right around the corner and just basically just pushes it against the railing and decapitates him, which is pretty cool. F, he gets cut in the midst of the fight, But luckily Quinlan shows up and he's actually able to overpower the Master. They sort of have this like test of strength type of thing. And Quinlan's able to avoid like every one of the Master's strikes in Palmer's body, and he just completely outmaneuvers them, counters them, and with Fett and F and the others, they're able to force him into the box and close it. So it was pretty good to see, even though he knew that there's one more season left, something's going to go wrong. But it's still kind of satisfying to see, Quinlan get that moment of again, beating his father. So, and this was also a factor because the Master was sort of rendered maybe slightly weaker because of the no communication. Sort of that stunning him a bit. So F and Dutch were able to pull that off, which is cool. But that means no communication. I-Course seems pretty stunned when he's in the car, not hearing the voice. Same goes with Kelly, and she almost, goes feral. She almost attacks Zach. And F, meanwhile, he tells Dutch to go with Fett and Satrakian, to take care of the box. He'll be along. He wants to patch himself up. And then, of course, we have Kelly. She goes up there to see her Master, as Zach said, to be reassured he's alright, but of course she sees F sitting there patching himself up, and we get a fight between F and Kelly, and it was pretty intense. Kelly almost got to him. F's able to knock her around a little bit. Of course, Zach's just there saying, no. There was a moment when I was really worried about F in this exchange, though, because I don't know, I was expecting another major death or something, which I'm sure we'll get next season, from someone anyway. But when Kelly shot out the stinger and it went in slow motion, I was worried, honestly. That'd be a major swerve. But luckily F is actually able to catch it, and he had one of those gloves on, so the worms weren't able to just dig into his hand, so that was good. And then I think he crushes Kelly's throat on the inside of it or something like that. But he grips her and does that, which is, cool. And then we see, of course, the blood coming out of her, so we know that Kelly is dead. That finally killed her. And of course, Zach, he's, just automatically pissed at F, just having that tunnel vision about that again. And he runs off, and then he comes back with a detonator for the second nuclear bomb. And he detonates it. So it decimates most of the city, and there's very few left alive. It creates this really great effect, though. The sky goes like this really post-apocalyptic, orangish desert sort of look to it, or tannish sort of look to it. And I thought this looked really cool. I'm guessing we're gonna have that whole effect in the environment for the final season too, which is just awesome. It looked exactly like how I wanted it to when I was envisioning when it finally got to this complete point of no return with the post-apocalyptic thing. So I really like the look of the sky and the city and stuff now with that type of coloring and such. But of course, Zach, how the fuck could he do that? But again, you should have heard my panic when I thought F was gonna get stunned. I was like, and for some reason I thought the nuke was still in Palmer's building. So when Zach pressed it, I was like, no, fuck you. I don't know if I could take F dying, so I love F as a character, but anyway, and this of course detonates. Quinlan is blown away by it a little bit, and Satrakian, Fett, and Dutch are able to take cover. Quinlan survives, but they see that the box has been open, from the impact of it being blown around a little bit. So the Master has escaped again for the final season. And then Zach, he runs off on F, who's just getting up, and he sees I-Course. He runs into I-Course. I-Course wearing those glasses and the hat, which is kind of a fun look for him. Zach tells about Kelly's death, and then he runs off with I-Course. He decides to trust I-Course more than his own father again, just because he's still seeing black and white with everything happening. Zach. I hope F just puts him down at some point. But yeah, then we have the sort of occultation thing happen full on. We sort of get the sun being covered in a way we've seen in a lot of strained promotional images over the years, and certain promotional trailers and such. So it's a really cool look again. So the sun is pretty much black now. We see the Stigori running around all over the city. So yeah, really good episode, man. I loved it. One of the best episodes of the series, probably. And this has a great setup for season 4, the final season. Again, this has that environment, very post-apocalyptic feel to it that I absolutely love. I can't wait to see all the shit that goes down in the final season. Overall, season 3 was a really good season. Probably the best of the show so far, and I think the last season will probably be even better. It's going to be some crazy, major, intense shit going down. But yeah, I love this episode. I'm giving it about 9.4, 9.5 out of 10. And I really can't wait for next year. Sad that's ending, but I feel like it's the right time, and I can't wait to see how they conclude the whole thing. It should be great. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought about the episode. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, subscribe, and peace. I just wish I could watch the final season now.